Good morning, everyone. I'm Bhagirath Chaudhary from Surkhet. I'm studying in Midwestern University in M.Ed English Education, third semester. At first, I would like to thank you very much to our lecturer teacher, Edu Raj Gewali. He has provided these kinds of beautiful opportunity to express our own ideas and abilities. Today, I'm going to present some slides about the role of CDA in EFL Classroom for teaching and learning process. Here I have made some slides which are related about the EFL Classroom, and the outlines are here. The introduction of CDA with characteristics and aim, the CDA and language teaching, role of CDA in the EFL classroom, a critical attitude analyzing language use, and fair clause CDA in the classroom, and teaching activities conducted, and the conclusion. In the beginning, the introduction of CDA. In general, critical discourse analysis is an approach we already know about it, and that goes beyond the textual analysis of language. It is not related only with textual analysis of language, but it is also related with social, cultural, uh, political, ideological context. It's mean we can say linguistic features. And so, another hand, actually CDA approach um, appeared in 1980s as an approach to combine language studies and social theory, which is first developed by Norman Fairclough in 1989, and he had adopted a three-dimensional framework to analysis, description, interpretation, and explanation. And similarly, critical discourse analysis means analyzing discourse, says, to find hidden meaning and to uncover the relationship between discourse, ideology, and power. So here, EFL teacher may have his/her control to better equip learners with a lifelong ability in critical thinking and critical language skill. So according to Thales, Moria, Murcia, and Olestein believe that discourse analysis studies have led to a change from a grammar-oriented approach of language teaching to a discourse-oriented one. So they believe and they believe about the um, CDA. It is upgraded from grammar-oriented approach to discourse-based approach. So discourse-based approach to EFL teaching and learning become central to the process of enabling learners to become competent and efficient users of a new language. So while learning another language, students need to develop discourse skills. So in that language, so if any one students uh, learning another L2 or language, another language, he have to know the skills. He have to know about the discourse skill in that language. So similarly, what is EFL Classroom? EFL Classroom is in a country where English is not the dominant language. It is accepted language, and uh, students share the same language and culture. The teacher may be the only native English speaker they have exposure to. So, outside of the classroom, students have very few opportunity to use English. For example, in Nepal, there are lots of language speakers. Variety of language speakers are here. In a classroom, we found different kinds of language, variety of language speakers. Like for example, if we go to Tarai region, there we found the different native speaker like Tharu and Gurung, Magar, and they are different kinds of speak language. And the national language is Nepali, but the it, for some students, Nepali is a second language in the classroom. So here, mm, the English is not dominant language in Nepal too. So students share the same language and culture, and the native language speaker also share the same language and culture. Okay, educational setting. EFL classroom is educational setting where English is taught to the learners who whose native language is not English, and they are in a country where English is not an official language too. And so I already told you as an example, uh, a class where Nepali students learn English in Nepal is an example of EFL classroom. Okay, what are the characteristics of CDA? It is discourse as a form of social practice. Social practice. Language using is seen as socially influenced and influential. It reveals the connections between language use, power, and ideology. What are the aims of CDA in EFL classroom? Let's see. Development of the learner's capacities to examine and judge the world carefully. So it develops the learner's capacity to development of the learner's ability to face the EFL challenges. Like as uh, more students or EFL learners usually face the big tasks of learning, not only new vocabulary, new syntactic patterns and phonology, but also discourse and socio-cultural dimensions of the target language. And to enable the students as well as teacher in critical thinking and using different kinds of ideas and materials while teaching learning process. Okay, CDA and language teaching on the basis of Fairclough in 1992. He argued that language teaching programmers and materials have not given sufficient attention to important social aspects of language. And he he argued that language teaching programs and materials so have not given sufficient attention. So it is very important to uh, think about it, the materials and techniques and methodology we have to use in social aspect of language. So a special aspect of the relationship between language and power, which ought to be highlighted in language education. So in language education, the relationship between language and power, which ought to be highlighted, because the relationship of language and power is known as the CDA. So critical approaches to language and language education is becoming increasingly persuasive now. So because of contemporary changes affecting the role of language in social life. Role of CDA in the EFL classroom. What may be the role of CDA in the classroom? At first, teachers could develop in students an attitude that promotes the exploration and discovery of basic text types. Okay, next one is CDA helps to create an EFL learning environment. We may say good environment of learning, EFL learning in the classroom. It is different from traditional grammar printing learning just to gain knowledge of English grammar. It's quite different. It helps to think critically and not simply but uh, deeply. It studies. Okay. Next one, CDA aims to make more visible the hidden ideologies. Okay. CDA uh, helps to make more visible the hidden ideologies. So in the classroom also, students can be encouraged to build mini corpus of data and not related with only with the textbook materials, but it is also related with life um, and the environment of where we live. Like as political speech, it is quite different than textbook reading. So debates also. And similarly, students benefit from the opportunity to undertake a comparative analysis. Okay, students benefit from the opportunity to undertake comparative analysis. They can get opportunity to think comparatively and analyze the text in different way. CDA helps students become better, more active and critical readers. Okay, so here students become better and more active and critical readers, and CDA helps. The CDA encourages students to analyze text in ways that bring their hidden meaning to the surface. Okay, they have to learn about that. So students encourage critical attitude analyzing language use. In critically analyzing the language use, CDA considers discourse as a practical, social, and cultural phenomenon, and the CDA views the relationship where discourse can be influenced and at the same time influential for the context as a dialectical. Distinguish between local and more global functions, pragmatic functions. For example, and language use is questionable and problematic. Okay, CDA language using is questionable, problematic. Okay, and CDA reflects social ideological process. Okay, according to the um, fair clause CDA in the classroom, means the main aim of CDA in EFL Classroom is to exemplify how CDA can be implemented in EFL teaching to help students develop their values and critical thinking abilities. So it is the main aims of CDA in the EFL Classroom. So CDS is the relationship between language and society. We already known about it, and this means two-way relationship. Language is influenced by society, and society is shaped by language. And language is controlled by the social structure, and the social structure is maintained and transmitted through language. It's two-way relationship. Okay. Similarly, teaching activities conducted uh, according to the Fair Cross 1989 model, where discourse is the results of three different types of practices. Here, one, social practice, two, discursive practice, and third one, textual practice. Okay, working with the text. For example, we have taken an example about clarifying the teaching activities, uh, working with the text, and title is on an unusual community, maybe unusual community. So stages, teacher shows a photograph and give triggering questions. The teacher shows the photograph to the students, and then he asks some questions about the pictures. So we don't know the community or the unusual community. We are discussing about that community, and students read the passage too, and students try to find particular information for task completion, and students try to find out the particular information from the text and from the um, textual materials, and to completion the task which the teacher has given. And the teacher and students focus on the language components: grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation. Okay, and social practice. Through social practice, how we uh, how how we do CDA practice in the EFL classroom. So social practice, relating the text with the representation of the work by asking question why different. So there is not given text, just we can guess about this one, and finding out how the ideology of the writer said the textual representation by asking opinion. Okay, finding out how the ideology of the writer says what kinds of idea uh, or thinking and message or author or writer wants to give to the text. So, analyzing how the text contributes to changing the ideological position of the readers. What do you think? So, it is an analyzing questions. So, okay. So, similarly, through discursive practice, writing and speaking fluently. So, the contribution of the different propositions in the text asks for the author's idea. What is the main idea a writer is uh, going to present and um, going to say through the text, and the reader's knowledge of the world and experience of other texts that the author draws often. And the general knowledge, it's asking about the general knowledge in the text. Okay, and textual practice means focusing on connectors, modality, and vocabulary in the text. And teaching activities conducted, uh, for example, next example, a simple task, easy reading. Pre-task, introduction, discussing the different descriptions given to between classmates or uh, native language speaker and uh, non-native or second language learner. And this is pre-task from the in the beginning. In the we can do this concept example and task. Task cycle: instruction, plan, prepare, and perform. Read original version, again simplified version, read the simplified version and find the different features. And there are two versions of text, so read original version and read simplified version and then find the different features. What are the different features in there? So language focus, another one. Discuss, conclude, and apply the relationship between readers. Okay. Okay. In conclusion, in sum, CDA can be used in EFL teaching as a complementary model for analyzing language use and designing language learning activities. And CDA arouses the learner's capacity to interpret a text within a specific communicative function. And CDA helps to encourage students towards independent learning. The type of critical thinking is vital not only for all areas of academic study but also for lifelong education. Okay, so CDA helps to encourage students for critical thinking, not only one area of academic study but also for the lifelong education. So CDA helps to uh, relate with society and as language to society and surrounding all the things of the students. Okay, thank you very much.